to the ITSM Practice Podcast.
Welcome to the ITSM Practice Podcast. I'm Luigi Ferri. Let me be direct. Most organizations say they manage the product lifecycle. In reality, they manage only two phases: build and operate. Everything else is narrative. Roadmaps talk about vision. Slides talk about growth. Committees talk about strategy. But governance? Governance starts late and stops early. And nowhere is this more dangerous than in security. Chief Information Security Officers, this episode is for you. Because the most insecure moment of a digital product is not launch. And it is not end of life. It is growth. Growth is when customers scale faster than architecture. Features ship faster than understanding. Teams multiply faster than accountability. And automation executes decisions no one remembers approving. Growth feels like success. Security sees only fragments. In the growth phase, the product is no longer fragile. It is confident. A confidence is where discipline dies. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. DevOps. Not DevOps as an idea. DevOps as practiced without ownership. Pipelines run. Deployments accelerate. Everything is green. But ask one simple question. Who owns the security posture of the product as it scales? Not the code, not the sprint, the product across its life cycle. Silence, silence. Security reviews still behave as if the product were static. Threat models freeze in time. Risk registers lag 6 months behind reality. Meanwhile, the roadmap keeps moving. Here is the truth. In the growth phase, most security incidents are not failures of control. They are consequences of product decisions. Which customer segments were prioritized? Which integrations were rushed? Which legacy components were kept temporarily? Which data models were stretched beyond design? These are not operational issues. They are investment decisions. Yet, Chief Information Security Officers are often invited only when something breaks, an audit looms, or an incident becomes visible. Security is treated as a control layer, not as a life cycle discipline. And then we wonder why security feels reactive. Most organizations govern like this: build phase, speed, innovation, tolerance. Operate phase, stability, controls, metrics. Everything in between is improvised. Growth has no owner, only momentum. But growth is exactly where attack surface expands not linearly. Dependencies explode. Identity sprawls becomes normal. Temporary exceptions turn permanent. If you do not govern growth explicitly, you are not managing life cycle. You are managing consequences. And let's elevate the conversation. Chief Information Security Officers rarely talk in portfolio language. And that's a mistake. Because growth phase chaos is not visible at single product level. It is visible at the portfolio level. Which products are scaling without security refactoring? Which ones are accumulating silent debt? Which ones are growing revenue while growing exposure faster? Most security functions can answer. Is this system compliant? Very few can answer. Is this product still investable from a risk perspective? That is a lifecycle question, not a control question. DevOps solved one problem brilliantly: execution friction. But it never solved responsibility allocation. Pipelines do not own risk. Teams rotate. Architects move on. Product managers chase growth. The system keeps running, and security is left to govern a moving object with a static mandate. This is why growth becomes dangerous. Decisions compound, but ownership dissolves. Let's be precise. Security debt is not missing patches, outdated libraries, and closed vulnerabilities. Those are symptoms. Security debt is when a product outgrows its original trust model. Data exposure assumptions are no longer true. Identity models are stretched beyond intent. But the roadmap keeps accelerating anyway. That debt is created during growth and paid during incidents. So, here is the question that should make you uneasy. If a product doubles in scale, integration, and exposure in 18 months, but its security governance model stays the same, are you governing the product or merely monitoring its failure trajectory? Because lifecycle management is about knowing when growth requires redesign. And most organizations never stop to ask that. They just keep shipping. Thank you for listening. I'm Luigi Ferri, and this was the ITSM Practice Podcast. Arrivederci.